Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our public hearing on Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. I would like to call this meeting to order. This public hearing is being held pursuant to Section 465 of the Local Government Act. All members of the public will be given a reasonable time to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the bylaw that is the subject of this hearing. All information, correspondence, petitions, or reports that have been received by noon today concerning the subject bylaw have been circulated to Council and are available to the public as part of the meeting package. Staff will provide their report, followed by an opportunity for the applicant to speak. Members of the public who have pre-registered to speak have been added to the speakers list in the order that requests were received. Anyone who has not pre-registered may call into the conference line during the live meeting by calling the meeting conference line at 778-907-2071 and entering the meeting ID 506-489-9374 with a passcode 485186. The Deputy Mayor will provide an opportunity for public comment according to the speakers list, followed by comment from those who have just joined the meeting. Speakers will be asked to state their name and civic address. Please note all representation, whether written, in person, or electronic, are available to the public for viewing as part of the public record. Remarks will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker and should include all the relevant information in their presentation. Further opportunity will be afforded to all members of the public to speak a second or third time with new information only, once all persons have had the opportunity to speak. Council may ask questions of staff, the applicant, and the public, but once the public meeting is over, no new information can be received. Council debate on the bylaw will take place during the regular council meeting following the conclusion of the public hearing. The corporate officer will now provide information on the notice of this public hearing.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So notice of the public hearing was given in accordance with the Local Government Act and the district's public notice bylaw. In addition, 3 notices were hand delivered to owners and occupiers on May 15th, 2025 of neighboring properties. We also received 3 submissions in support of the proposal, and these comments have been circulated to Council as part of the public hearing agenda package.
Okay, thank you. Now over to Odessa, who will start off the public hearing.
Okay, good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. So today I'm going to be going over the public hearing for application Z24-008 for consideration of the disc golf course. So the property in question is 17400 Highway 40. It is currently district-owned lands and is approximately 123 acres in size. The intent of the rezoning is to consider a 36-hole disc golf course, and they are currently zoned forestry, grazing, and agriculture, both of which do not support recreational uses. The lands are not within the ALR and they are not currently cultivated. For consideration of zoning around the area, there's a number of forestry grazing properties surrounding the subject lands, as well as some agricultural small holding and resource industrial, which is our landfill. And then the OCP designation, we have an open lands to the north, as well as a number of other agricultural parcels designated for agricultural use. So on September 3rd, 2024, the district council directed staff to prepare a site-specific zoning amendment to allow a disc golf course on the district's lands at 17400 Highway 40. The intent is that over 2 phases, a build out of a disc golf course will take place for a total of 36 holes, 49 parking stalls, and it would cover 77 acres of the total 123 acres of the subject lands. So the picture here notes the proposed phase 1 and phase 2 on those 77 acres, as well as a note as to where proposed parking would be located, which is on existing areas where parking currently takes place. The next map shows the proposed phase 1 for 18 holes on a portion of those 77 acres, with the lines noting the area for throwing and then the baskets. So the infrastructure that would be proposed and put on the property includes baskets, some cement pads, as well as signage, both for entering the property for disc golf course, as well as the signage at the pads themselves to note where the directional throwing can occur. There's also intended parking improvements with graded areas and logs to further define what is currently used for parking, as well as a kiosk to showcase and an introductory to the disc golf course area with information. And then the top left image shows the proposed parking outline for both phases 1 and 2. So that would occur over 2 phases for the parking. So in the planning analysis, staff looked at both the OCP and the zoning bylaw. Based off of the current OCP designation for agriculture, it was noted that the open lands designation would be better suited, and staff are proposing to redesignate to the open lands designation. This would support low intensity recreation within a rural area, which is where it currently is located. And the parcel is also not being considered for parkland, so the open lands designation would also be supportive. The proposed zoning is also looking at more applicable zoning through a comprehensive development zone, which is specific to a parcel and the uses there. The CD zone would provide site-specific provisions for the recreation uses, specifically with some components for the disc golf course itself, including parking, infrastructure, and setbacks. The principal uses in the CD zone, again, further support outdoor and low-intensity recreational uses. Staff would also like to note that with this proposed rezoning, it does not limit the area to be only used for a disc golf course. It also supports other low-intensity recreational uses alongside the disc golf course infrastructure and site. So for engagement, as per the development procedures bylaw, for a rezoning and an OCP amendment, a development notice sign is required. The Penticton Disc Golf Course Club put up a sign on May 15th on the property itself, with the image there showing it on installation. And then council also requested that the club engage with other recreation users on the site that frequent it. So these included the Dirt Bike Club, the Summerland Rodeo Ground and Equestrian Group, the Walking Club, and the Penticton Area Cycling Association. The club was also on site on June 7th, and they were there just answering questions and providing information to users on the site. So in addition, we have the referral comments here. The internal comments brought back just similar concerns of garbage and trail maintenance for existing users as well. Fire brought in parking concerns. Bylaw looked at just the current issues in the area and how increased activity in the site would possibly discourage or dissuade some of that. We also externally referred the application to Tallis Shaw, the school district number 67, and the Ministry of Environment and Parks, and no concerns were received at the time of the report. So in the discussion here, we are looking specifically at parking. So looking at the number of sites that are currently there and how it's currently used, the proposed use of the disc golf course would be looking to improve the existing parking situation by having more defined areas and grading and setting up spaces outside of parking on the kind of like vegetated areas. So refining and defining parking would be a benefit to this. They've also noted the infrastructure itself is temporary in nature, so easily removed. In the case that the either lease is terminated or the use of the land is changed, it can be removed and the land brought back to the way it was before. The other component are conflicts between users on the site. It's currently being used by a number of users. So recommendations and requirements in the CD zone are also addressing that through signage requirements to make sure that hazard signs are put up, as well as caution signs to ensure that people are aware of the users in the area and the possible risks associated with it. And that is all.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Kendra, can council ask questions of Odessa right now? Okay. Council, do you have any questions before we hear from the public for Odessa at all? No? Okay. All right, we will begin our public comment period. So on my list, I have Elaine Vickers first. And just a reminder, when you sit down, state your full name, address, and remember to turn the mic on.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor Trainer and council members. My name is Elaine Vickers. I'm at 324 Carmel Crescent in Okanagan Falls, and I currently serve as the president of the Penticton Disc Golf Club. I'm here on behalf of the club, along with a bunch of other members, including our past president and some of our co-founders. We want to seek the council's approval to rezone the Lower Trappers area at 17,400 Highway 40 in Summerland from forestry grazing to a designation suitable for recreational use. The Penticton Disc Golf Club is a nonprofit, member-based society with a decade of dedicated service, managed by a volunteer board of directors committed to promoting and expanding the sport of disc golf within the region. We built and continue to maintain the Marina View and Three Blind Mice disc golf courses in Penticton. For those who are not familiar with the sport, its popularity has significantly increased globally since 2020. And as an example, our membership increased from 46 in 2019 to 126 in 2022. It's like ball golf, except for a disc replaces your clubs and your balls, and the end goal is to land your disc in a basket in the least number of throws. Courses are either 9 or 18 holes and are often in parks and multi-use areas. We do not require manicured lawns and use existing landscapes such as trees, bushes, and water to shape our holes. Our organization is collaborating with Dion from All Accessible Disc Golf on the potential development of a disc golf course in the Lower Trappers area. By developing this free-to-play, publicly accessible disc golf course, we will promote the sport's growth and strengthen our community impact through increased awareness and participation, which we also aim to achieve by running a variety of events, including leagues, tournaments, and clinics, catering to all skill levels and abilities. We strive to have a more inclusive, accessible, and diverse disc golf community. And just as an example of this past weekend, we hosted a fully sanctioned women's tournament at Three Blind Mice, where our youngest player was 6 years old and our oldest player was 60. And our skill level ranged from beginner to professional. Our vision for the area is to construct a disc golf course that features multiple tee pad positions, offering both a championship level experience and a beginner friendly layout. The course will be installed and maintained by our organization, some of whom are here today to show their support, until such a time that a Summerland Disc Golf Club is established. We will work collaboratively with existing trail users to ensure that current recreational activities can continue seamlessly, thereby maintaining a multi-use recreational zone. Additionally, we plan to partner with local businesses and community organizations, such as the Kinsmen's Club of Summerland, whose president is here to show his support. Thank you. To supply equipment and resources for the course while leveraging volunteer efforts for installation to minimize costs. We believe that establishing a disc golf course in the area will bring significant benefits to the community, and we respectfully request the Summerland Council's support for our rezoning application. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Okay, thank you very much. Next on the list, we have Dion.
Evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. I'm Dion Eden from Karamias. I'm with All Accessible Disc Golf, and I'm here also about the rezoning, obviously. Just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak again tonight on this. I'm working with the Penticton Disc Golf Club. We're trying to bring disc golf to the community of Summerland. A course at Lower Trappers is going to bring benefit to schools, citizens, businesses, tourists, and it's going to be a world-class disc golf course. The community will have a new low-cost, high-value sports amenity that will provide an excellent location for outdoor exercise and enjoyment that everybody can use for free. From the skilled player to the first-time beginner, Trappers course will be a fun and challenging course for everybody to enjoy. Excuse me. This will be a championship level course with 3 sets of tee boxes for all skill levels, And throughout this process, we've been communicating with the other user groups through on-site meetings, emails, social media posts, and on-site signage, as you guys have seen earlier. We'll continue to work with all the other user groups to make this project successful, and so everyone can enjoy and continue to enjoy the trails and beauty of Lower Trappers. The disc golf has a very low environmental impact, and some Three Blind Mice Trails course has really had a positive impact through fire safety and cleanups and so forth throughout the years. Again, we thank you for your time and consideration in rezoning Lower Trappers for a disc golf course and multi-use. Thank you, Ben, for your time. Do you have any questions?
We'll ask them after too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you very much. Okay, we have Brian Corey up next. So again, full name and address, please.
Thank you. I'm glad I wasn't first. My name is Brian Corey. I'm at 16709 Victoria Road South in Summerland. I'm local, deputy mayor and council. Thanks for listening to us. So I'm a member of the Penticton Disc Golf Club. I'm a new disc golf player, so I've only been playing for a couple of years. And I joined the disc golf club fairly recently. I just wanted to say that disc golf is a very inclusive sport. It's very accessible. You only need 2 discs to play if you want. Some people carry 30, but you don't need much. And so it's good for kids, good for families. Really enjoyable sport. And the Penticton Disc Golf Club in particular is my first experience with a disc golf club, but the maintenance they do on Three Blind Mice, it's a wonderful course. I would expect the Trappers course to be as well supported and maintained. And I just wanted to give my support as a Summerland resident and a new disc golf player. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Brian. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak? Oh, I would. Okay, do you want to come up first and then we'll go to the gentleman behind you? Do you want to come up?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm prepared to speak, but I can speak. I just wanted to say
So
that.
full name and
Oh,
address.
yes. Bernadette Acton, and my address is 19256 Lakeshore Drive. And I just wanted to say that my grandkids love it, and I love disc golf too. I get to go, I've gone a few times with them, and I get to throw a few discs. You know, they're very patient, as it takes me a few times to get it in the basket. And then the rest of it, I just walk with them. And it's lovely. I'm walking in this beautiful place, watching them throw, and just having fun being out there. So not only good for the avid players, but it's good for if you just want to go and throw the disc a few times. So it's lots of fun for everyone. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, I think, yeah, you wanted to come up? Sure.
I'm Simon Butte, 940 Oakville Street in Penticton. I am an occasional player at disc golf, and I'm a business owner here in Summerland. I own Alchemist Distiller, a distillery in town, and yeah, just I see the opportunity here to to add attractivity to the town. When we see how much Three Blind Mice has evolved, the popularity of that disc golf course over the years, being very occasionally used at the beginning, and now we struggle to find parking. And no, it's be a great addition to Summerland. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, come on up.
Deputy Council and Mayor, Deputy Mayor and Council, thank you for having me. My name is Brinder Brar, 10511 Orchard Crescent here in Summerland. I'm here in my capacity as the president of the Kinsman Club of Summerland, and we believe the disc golf course fulfills our mandate of meeting the community's greatest need. That fulfills the needs for a wide range of demographics. We've always been great proponents of recreational activities, parks, and the rest of it. So we have put our fundraising efforts behind this disc golf course with a substantial financial contribution and labor support as well. I think the major factors that allowed us to make that decision really had to do with continuing with the mixed recreational use, which is important to some of our members and their family and friends, and also the ability to gain a whole new demographic of individuals that are able to utilize a large resource within Summerland that is truly underutilized. So thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. Yeah, come on up.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. Excuse me. My name is Mike Cook, 13432 Hermiston Drive in Summerland. Well, my wife and I are occasional disc golf players and have really taken to playing it when we travel. It has attracted us to small communities like Summerland on Vancouver Island, in Washington State and elsewhere, and has caused us to stay in that town and spend money, go to local businesses afterwards to get a meal. I really appreciate the plan that is in place that maintains usage for other users in that area. Because while I'm not a dirt biker, I know that's important to other people. So I think working with others is definitely a good idea. It would be low cost to Summerland. It would attract visitors to our town. As a high school teacher, it would be great for the kids. We've got kids highly involved in the high school in ultimate frisbee, so it would be a natural extension. So I see a lot of positives there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Don't be shy. Hi there.
My name's Emerson Mitchell. I live in 12414 Giants Head Road, Summerland. And I love disc golf. Me and my friends go to 3 Blind Mice like twice a week. It's super fun. And it'd be great for the schools to come with PE classes and just whenever we can. And I also play ultimate frisbee, and it's really good to practice, and it's just super fun sport.
Very well said. Thank you. You speak better than a lot of adults. Very good. Anyone else? Okay, I'll call one more or 2 more times. Anybody else want to add anything? All right, going 3 times, last chance. No? Okay, so seeing no further comments, I will close this public hearing. And now, 6:23, we will reconvene our regular meeting. Corporate Officer, do we have a late item to add?
Yes, there will be one late item to add as 18.2, and that will be for the OCP and zoning bylaw related to the food hub. So we just need a motion to amend the agenda to include that.
Council, can I get a motion? Councillor Barkwell, Councillor Patton, all in favor? Great, and I should also add, we do have Councillor Van Elfen joining us on Zoom. Okay. And then we didn't have any delegations tonight. Okay, so moving on now to our, oh, sorry, delegations would have come after. I got the order wrong, my mistake. Now we're going to go to bylaws that were the bylaw that was the subject of our public hearing that we just wrapped up. So over to Odessa, is there anything that you need to add before council debates?
Through the chair? Nope, there's nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, council, do you have any questions or thoughts? Go ahead, Councillor Peak.
A quick question to Odessa, if I might. Could you remind me the number of parking areas that are going to be laid out?
Through the chair to Councillor Peak, in total, following the 2 phases, it'll be 49 parking stalls that are proposed.
Terrific. Thank you very much. I'd like to say that I think the opportunity to have this kind of recreation amenity within Summerland is a wonderful thing. I think it'll be good for tourism and great for the sport and fun to get out there, just like Bernadette said. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? Do you have any questions at all? No. Councillor Patton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, mine's just a comment. I agree with Councillor Peak that I think would be a great addition to Summerland. And I'm very happy to see that our Summerland kinsmen are involved in this project. And I think that if this goes through in a matter of 5 minutes, I think it'll be a really great addition. Thank you.
Would you like to bring the motion forward?
I will. I would like to bring the motion forward as written by staff, please.
Okay, so read a third time and adopted, both the official community plan and the zoning bylaw amendment, and seconder is Councillor Peak. Yes. Okay. I'll just add that I think this is a great opportunity for Summerland, and I'm really impressed with the organization of the Penticton Golf Club. Right from the beginning, everything's always been organized. You've explained everything that you've done, and I think that you have a proven track record from what you've done in Penticton so far. I think Summerland is very lucky to have you come to our community and to organize this and to provide this opportunity for both your group and new people to learn. And I'm just really impressed that kids are speaking up about it and that they're excited about it too. And I love that there's going to be opportunities for events, and it gets more people outside enjoying that area. And I also think that I like the way you recognize that there's other uses as well and that you're willing to work with them. So I think you've done a really great job. So thank you very much. So I will be supporting this as well. So go ahead, Councillor Barkwell.
Okay. I won't add to the many speeches of how wonderful this is. It's kind of obvious. But I have a technical question for our corporate officer. I thought, and maybe I don't know what I'm mixing it up with, but I thought after, if something's near a highway, after third reading, it had to go to the Ministry of Transportation for approval before we give it adoption.
Through the chair to Councillor Barkwell, you are correct, but is Highway 40 designated as a highway with MODI? So it doesn't have the same designation as.
It's not that type of highway.
Not that type of highway.
Okay.
It doesn't trigger that requirement.
Okay, good catch. All right, then, if there's no further comments, then I will call the question on the motion on the TV screen. All in favor? Great. Any opposed? Seeing none. And Councillor Van Elfen, we can't see you. Do you have a vote?
In favor, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So that's carried unanimously. So thank you very much. Okay, so we didn't have any delegations for tonight. So now we are on to our development reports and business items, continuing animal control contracting options. Brian, was that yours? Oh, Brad, there you are. Okay.
I'll just give a minute for everyone to leave the room. Thank you, guys. Nobody wants to talk about animal control. Now we're gonna watch hockey. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So I do have a presentation prepared, and I'm going to run through some options for council tonight on our animal control service. Ahead of our 2026 budget process. So we are coming a little bit further in advance of our 2026 budget to discuss different options with the council in order to allow us to prepare for the budget going into the fall for animal control. So some background on this one, a notice of motion was provided by council on March 25th, 2025. That motion that was carried by council was, I'll just read it here, to be directed to report back by June 30th, 2025 on options for the animal control service in the District of Summerland, including but not limited to bringing the service in-house, reducing the service, and eliminating the service. And so that's what we're here today to discuss ahead of the deadline set by council. Division 6 of the community charter provides the authority to establish a bylaw related to animal control, and we've done that as a community through our responsible dog owner bylaw, which provides the authority for us to regulate dogs in our community. So I'll be going in detail with each of these options, and for each one, there is a financial overview in the table above in terms of a breakdown of the potential budgetary impact from both a revenue and cost perspective, and then also a pros and cons table. So this is included in council's report as well. And so starting with option 1, the status quo. So currently, the District of Summerland maintains a third-party contractor, as council is aware, that is currently providing animal control services. That is a 5-year contract that in 2026, we'd be in year 3 of that contract, which would be ending on September 30th, 2028. Attachment number 1 in council's package was provided to us by our contractor, which does a list of all the different services that the contractor provides for the community of Summerland. And then also attachment number 2 in the council's package provides the statistics from the animal control contractor for the 2023 full year as well as 2024 full year. So there is additional context there in council's package. But in terms of an overview of this option, I'm not going to go through each of the pros and cons, but the big pro with this contract is maintaining our current level of service in terms of active patrols by our contractor in the parks and beach areas, especially in the busy summer season. As well, maintaining kind of contracted officers that are trained and specialized in animal control that our contractor hires, and all the liability and risk concerns of other options are limited by having a contractor continue to provide this service. Now, on the con side, it's obvious this is going to be the most expensive option. It's the highest cost option that we have available. And so that's definitely some context for in comparison to the other options here. And I should say too, feel free to ask any questions as we're going through each of these options. But that was the first one. Option 2 is no animal control services. So this is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from the first option. Is basically canceling our current animal control contract, providing 90 days notice as per our contract that we will be canceling, rescinding our fees and charges bylaw with regards to dog licensing fees, and not requiring a dog license fees to be for any dogs within the District of Summerland. And then as well, rescinding our current responsible dog owner bylaw that currently regulates dogs within the community. So we would, at the staff level, we would refer all dog-related incidents or complaints to the RCMP. And obviously there'd be some concerns with that. And so we've identified some cons here with regards to this model, is that there could be some risks of, for example, animal welfare concerns being unaddressed. RCMP, as well as council is aware, short-staffed currently, and they as well have indicated they would be most likely unwilling to respond to animal concerns unless there was an immediate risk to the safety of the public, like if there was an emergent dog attack, for example. So if it's a dog-on-dog attack, perhaps not. If it's a dog in unhumane situations, then they as well most likely wouldn't respond. We'd also have no method of kind of finding dogs if there were dogs at large. this is kind of going against the provincial trend. Like at the staff level, we noticed that most other jurisdictions in the province are increasing their level of service for dog control. But that doesn't mean that council can definitely consider this option. And we would be, I think a pro is that we'd have to be very clear with the public as to the fact that we are not completing this service any longer. That therefore reducing any potential liability in the future. So any questions on this one as I continue moving on? Okay, I'll keep going. Option 3 is to bring in-house. So this is the first of 2 options of bringing the services in-house. So this option would entail hiring a full-time bylaw enforcement officer 1, which currently we have only a seasonal officer providing basically April to end of September coverage during the tourism season. And so we would be hiring a full-time officer to be a year-round coverage for animal control, and in addition to other bylaw enforcement at the same time. So there could be some in terms of pros. I'm kind of jumping a bit, but in terms of that year-round coverage of having 2 bylaw enforcement officers would be one potential pro of this option. Just to explain this option as well a little further, there would be some additional costs in addition to staffing. There's an annual other expenses with regards to training, maintaining equipment for our officers, for dog catching. Vet bills is something we'd have to start budgeting for, which previously was covered by our contractor. So we've estimated that annual impact to be around $6,000. And as well, we would need in the 2026 budget a one-time capital cost amount of around $10,000 to outfit one of our trucks to have a canopy that would allow for animal transport in a secured environment for animal transport when we're picking dogs at large. And I should say as well, there could be some additional unknown costs if public expectations grow with regards to this service. Right now, we forecasted maintaining our kenneling service still with the city of Penticton. That we have a separate contract with the city of Penticton to provide dogs to be within the kennel there. So perhaps public expectations increase to have the District of Summerland have their own kennel. Which would obviously then have significant kind of cost implications with regards to capital in particular of like where we're going to have to construct a kennel facility. So that's some potential future risk, but just a comment there. So going a bit into the pros and cons here, we are concerned a little bit at the staff level with regards to liability concerns that, if one of for example, our staff gets hurt, there could be a work safe claim. That's a potential area of liability. There's potential lawsuits if we're not enforcing strong enough on this bylaw with our own staff versus relying on a contractor. So there is some potential liability, which kind of is detailed there in the report. There is some concerns as well with just plunking it onto existing bylaw officers in terms of union concerns. We would have to do a review of their job descriptions, the current staff, as well as it may hurt us in retention and recruitment for our bylaw officers, because typically bylaw officers like to deal with just bylaw enforcement. It's specifically in non-animal control, which they see as a different type of level of enforcement. But on the pro side, as I mentioned, it could be an increased level of service, having 2 year-round bylaw officers, and perhaps we can be more flexible to different concerns popping up in the community from an enforcement side versus kind of just a standalone service with animal control being just animal control. For example, traffic, parking perhaps being more concerned right now. Last year it was more the Peach Orchard Park with a new dog park. So there's different, all kind of different community concerns popping up in bylaw enforcement. Homelessness, another one that draws on resources, and we can be more flexible to that. So I'll just keep moving forward. Option 4 is the second option for bringing in-house. So this one we've tried to create a reduced level of service option, basically still hiring a full-time officer. So the cost impact is the same as the previous option of option 3. Because all of those costs are fixed. If we are bringing this in-house, we need a full-time officer. We still have to do the training. But this is a reduced service in terms of council's consideration of we're going to reduce the amount of actual animal control related enforcement with this service and maybe try to maintain or maybe even increase the other bylaw enforcement areas. Like I mentioned, homelessness and untidy and unsightly property. So it wouldn't be the same level of service of just bringing it in. We're actually reducing the amount of service for dog attacks. And so this option may trigger the need to review our responsible dog owner bylaw. Maybe we'll do a revision to it to kind of set a new policy guideline as to the level of service that we're willing to kind of consider in our community in terms of enforcement that we're comfortable with at the council level, the community level, and also from an enforcement capacity perspective. So that's the main difference between the previous option and this option. And I don't think there's much else here to talk about. And then the last option that we have for council's consideration is option 5. So this is an option now recently provided by our animal control contractor. She's provided a reduced option to enter a new agreement. So we would have to go through a new agreement process, a new procurement process to basically remove the patrols. And that's kind of where we see this cost savings is there would be no active patrols of her officers for our community. So it'd be just on a request basis. Coverage would be available during the stated hours within our current contract. So kind of regular business hours for the contractor's operation. There would still be an extra charge for any after-hour call-outs, which is currently in our contract. But still, the benefits of this one in terms of it still maintains that liability coverage with a third-party contractor. The officers are trained in animal control enforcement, still putting a lot of that potential risks we see of the in-house option with the contractor, still reducing the level of service from what we have today. We're also reducing our costs and now perhaps meeting kind of both council's wishes as well as kind of the community's wishes of is this effective use of dollars. So in terms of the options that we're presenting to council for tonight, the one that staff are recommending is to move forward with option 5. And I'll explain a couple of reasons for that just further in the discussion. This is in the report, but at the staff level, we are concerned a bit about the potential of cost overruns as well on an annual basis. If there's, for example, a severe dog attack and we have to go get a court order from a judge to euthanize, which is a requirement under the community charter, then that's going to draw perhaps additional legal costs as well as staff time costs into an incident like that. So we're hedging some of our risk of that type of an event happening by having a third-party contractor and some of those cost overruns that could occur. As well at the staff level, we see that in terms of all the different items that the current contractor has provided, the patrols are probably the lowest hanging fruit. We feel at the staff level that perhaps it isn't great value for service that we're getting from those patrols based on the number of patrols we're getting in our statistics and what we're seeing from those patrols happening in our community. So in terms of that as well being some of the reasons for the recommendation. I think in comparison to this one, we think of the staff, well, the other option is the in-house reduced scope of services option, in terms of being very clear what our new program will be, which would be a reduced level, but allowing perhaps an increased level of service for the other bylaw enforcement areas. So we see some value in that as well. I'm happy to take any questions now at this time, but our recommendation is option 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. That was a lot of detail, really good. Okay, so Councillor Peak, I think, had her hand up first, and then Barkwell.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Brad, I'd like to ask, or I'd like to emphasize that in option 5, that we would get the same operational hours and there would be no charge for call-outs during regular hours. So if we had an incident, if something came along, we could still make recourse to the contracted people. And that would reduce our risk for several things that you've mentioned as possibly being a risk. I agree with the statements around, I think that bylaw people understand what they need to do. If they're asked to do animal control, it's really outside the venue or the purview of that type of description. And I think that it is quite possible we would have trouble at hiring people into that position. Although I understand why we might consider it because of the cost savings. We would still, and I just wanted to be sure about this, we would still be collecting dog license fees. We'd still have the statement about responsible dog ownership. I like further on in the report, it speaks about possible increases in those licensing fees. I really don't want to see another $20 added on, but I do like the indexing of those fees year over year to adjust on possible cost increases on animal control. The animal control contract person speaks about having partnerships with various things for getting food and whatever. I'd like to say that the food bank in Summerland also receives very good support from both the pet owner stores in our area. So we do receive lots of donations and we distribute them to animal owners in our area. Although I'm sure that whatever the animal control contract person does, I bet you some of that goes to Critter Aid and that. I mean, it's great community support what they're doing. On the statistics that this person accruals, there are no times in any part of those reports. I'm wondering if times for those might in future inform a little more information in a review. So I actually think that option 5 is the option that I would go for.
Okay, Councillor Barkwell.
First of all, I'd like to thank staff, I guess staff being Brad or his people.
Just me.
Yeah, for a great report that kind of summarizes all the pros and cons and everything, a number of options. There's one pro or that I don't remember seeing, and is that the response time, if it's our local guy, is a lot better than somebody coming up from Penticton and who doesn't necessarily know the town as well. And for some types of calls, the response time is kind of important. And I look at the stats here and, there isn't a whole lot of things happening. You might have an animal at large, sometimes none. Highest is 8. Or is that a 3? I don't have my glasses on, but you know what I mean. They're not big numbers, and certainly I agree that there's going to have to be additional training to be able to handle these things. I don't know how extensive the training is, but often you can consider that as job enrichment, to have a little variety into your job. I just don't think that dog calls and such is going to add hugely to the workload. And with option 3 or 4, but I prefer 3, you get the benefit, you get savings, plus you get the additional service of having 2 bylaw officers on all the time, all year round. And they can cover off for each other. I'm sure they both won't be at work every day. They get holidays and such. So that is a great compromise as far as I can see it. Just I'm going to click over to that one. It provides increased service in both bylaw enforcement and animal enforcement because they're right here in town, and yet we still save some money. So I'd like to put, after, there's more discussion from the others, but I'd like to throw number 3 out as the preferred option. Not throw it out, as put it on, lay it on the table as the preferred option for those reasons.
I kind of agree with Councillor Barkwell. When you were going through the options, I did like option 3, but my only concern is that I like that right now the liability is not on us, because it just takes one incident that, then we have to get lawyers, and it adds a complexity that is, not likely to happen. But if it does, it's just another thing that staff have to deal with. I'm also concerned, and you brought this up, and so did Councillor Peak, about the fact that I think a dog patrol and dealing with animals is different than what our bylaw officers do right now. Like, to me, they're 2 different jobs. You're dealing with humans versus dealing with animals, and, people have different sets of skills. And so I don't necessarily know if that can be combined, but I don't know. So those would be my my hesitations for option 3 and 4. So I guess I lean towards 5 just because it's a cost savings and we just don't have that risk. Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brad, this was a great report. Thank you so much. When I did bring the motion, and it all has to do with budget and all has to do with money. And I think what brought it to light for me a couple years ago is when we were talking about the contract and the dog control company that we're using, stop doing weekend patrols, stop doing picking up animals from, say, Friday night 5 o'clock till Monday morning 8 o'clock. I'm just throwing those 2 numbers out there. But then, and you hit it right on the head, is as far as the patrols go, what is the benefit to our citizens? So if we do have, if option 5, we still have during normal working hours, that they will come and they will take an animal to the SPCA or, whatever the case may be. And it is a cost savings to us of $30,000, which in turn leaves our bylaw officers to deal with other issues. And you hit it on the head, where we know that homelessness isn't going away and it's relevant all around us, that we use those positions for what we really need them for. To tell you the truth, I think with a cost savings of $30,000 and keeping the service with the contractor, I think for me, it has met what I was going for as far as the notice of motion when we did this. So I want to thank you, because I think this was a very good optics on what we can get, what we don't have, and where we can move forward very cost effectively. So I thank you very much.
It's good to have this information too, because when the contract is done, we now have a better picture of what it would look like. So I think we could have, if we do go with option 5, we could evaluate how that goes, that if it's working out, we keep it. If not, we've got the information to go the other way. So, Councillor Peak.
I agree with those statements, Deputy Mayor. One thing I wanted to check is that I remember years ago when we did this review and it was estimated we spent $10,000 on kenneling. I realize this is a $3,000. However, I do believe that we have kennels that might be interested in taking that possibility on here. I don't know for sure. But the Johnson Street had one. I don't know all these things. I'm just saying perhaps we could do some discovery on that to know if there is a local option for that. And I do agree with keeping the risk with it at arm's length with this contract.
Okay, would somebody like to bring forward a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will bring forward the motion as presented by staff for option 5.
You have a seconder, Councillor Peak. Okay. Councillor Van Elfen, did you want to add anything? If you're still around.
I am, Deputy Mayor, and I agree with Councillor Patton. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Anyone? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Barkwell.
No, I mean, although I spoke in favor of option 3, option 5 is a good option too. 3, 4, and 5 are all very good options.
Okay.
And so I won't oppose his motion. I'm not as worried about the insurance liability stuff, but okay, 30,000 is more than 25 too.
Okay, I'll call the question then. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you. So option 5. Yeah, thank you, Brad. 18.2, so OCP bylaw for the food hub. Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So this is a late addition being brought forward tonight. To provide some context, we received the results of the non-farm use application for this project last week from the ALC. So there was an ALC decision that was released. The ALC did approve the project, which is the good news with regards to the food hub project, but there was 2 conditions of approval. One being that a restrictive covenant be registered on title to protect the plantings that are outside of the footprint area of the food hub project itself that are on the subject property. And the other one as well, kind of related to that, is we would that this ALC would review and approve the OCP amendment bylaws and also the zoning amendment bylaws to be in conformance with their non-farm use approval. So we sent them a copy of our amendment bylaws about the middle of last week, and they've confirmed that they wanted to see further amendment of our amendment bylaws for both those bylaws to reduce the M3 the agri-industrial zoning to be just the non-farm use area and keep the balance of the property in A1. So not rezoning the entire property, which is the bylaw amendment that we went forward with council and also the public hearing in February, but to reduce that area to be just the footprint required for this food hub project and then maintain the rest of the land in A1. So unfortunately, what that means for us is that we have to, to move forward with the amendment bylaws with ALC approval, we need to amend those bylaws. And so we are requesting the council consider tonight rescinding the second and third reading for both amendment bylaws, so the official community plan as well as the zoning bylaw amendment, to reread second reading for both bylaws, and we've provided a revised amendment bylaws now with the same mapping that was provided from the ALC with regards to their non-farm use area. for the OCP designation as well as the M3 zoning. And also lastly, to set a new public hearing date. And unfortunately, because this is an OCP amendment, we do have to go through a public hearing process again to go forward with adoption of these bylaws in the future. That pretty much summarizes the request, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, yeah, I read the emails that you sent from the ALC, and that makes sense. I can see why it's kind of a formality almost, that we just have to tidy up that property to make it a bit tighter. So we have to do it. Does anybody have any questions on this? Councillor Peak.
Given that we have to go back a bit to go forward a bit, can you tell us the timeframes that would be taking up?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Peak, good question. So we have tried to advance this as quick as we can. That's why it's a late edition on tonight's report. So if council provides second reading tonight, and also setting that public hearing on July 8th, we could consider third reading, or council can consider third reading on July 8th. Unfortunately as well, we have to still get MODI approval between third reading and adoption. So we would have to come back on July 29th for adoption of the zoning bylaw amendment. So that would be the quickest we could move forward with this bylaw.
Okay, would somebody like to bring this forward? Councillor Peak, Councillor Patton, seconder. Good work bringing it forward as quickly as possible. I guess everybody involved knows about this. Okay. All right, any further questions or comments? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? Great, that's passed. Okay, so July 8th. All right. Okay. So business arising from the committee, the whole and closed sessions. So we just need to, that's bringing forward the transportation master plan from the 27th of May. Kendra, is this the time that I can add in? Okay. So earlier today, we got a letter from the Trail of the Okanogans just requesting that within this transportation plan that we extend the designation for the Trail of the Okanogans all the way through Garnet Valley out to our northern border. So I just wanted to add that in. When you look at the map, I believe it's on page 47 or 48, it looks like that was the intention anyway. But we do need to have that updated so that it actually looks that way. So I just wanted to bring that forward, a small amendment. Okay, it's okay, I'm just reading. Is everybody okay with, did they get a chance to see that letter from the trails? Okay. Okay, we're just waiting while we can get our motion on the screen. That looks okay. Okay, I'm just going to double check their letter. We respectively ask the district designate Garnet Valley Road through the north boundary as a Trail of the Okanogans route. Okay. And so Kendra, we just do one vote on that? Do we have to vote on the amendment or? Okay, so the whole thing. Okay. All right, so Councillor Peak, do we have a seconder? Councillor, am I the one that brought that forward though? Or like, do I be the? Okay. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. Okay, so Councillor Peak and Councillor Patton. Great. Any further questions or comments? No? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Great, thank you. Does anybody have a notice of motion? No? Councillor reports. Go ahead, Councillor Barkwell.
Does anybody want to hear about the great things I brought back from SCM?
Yes, Councillor Brown.
Something for the museum about no history, historical services, and all sorts of great programs for museums. And some information on new food recyclers. We talked about that a bit this afternoon, and here's some specifics for staff. And another information for staff is that there's an organization called Pets Canada would help develop responsible pet bylaws, responsible pet sourcing guidelines, best management practices, bylaw officer training, which we don't need now. But again, for staff, if they need a resource for refinements to our bylaw. And now there's these programs called Rural Impact Canada. And it's established by CMHC, and it's all about empowering communities, enabling development. And they have different things such as mapping solutions, making development happen, three different programs. We have the MSC program, you asked. It helps small and rural municipalities understand the benefits of MSC, and nowhere in this brochure does it say what MSC stands for. I think it's a poor job. And anyhow, there's resource information for planners and all specific to unlocking rural housing potential. That's us. And this is being presented, more specifics for staff. The heavy duty gravity locks, I think you gave a video, you put it on YouTube too, didn't you? This is an exciting thing for some people. And we also have accelerating community energy transformation from the University of Victoria. And they will work with us and do free studies with their students doing master's thesis and stuff on clean energy solutions. Now, we've looked at some of these things before, such as generation on our pressure reducing valves and stuff, but the economics change, the technology change, and these guys, if we have an idea we want researched, they'll do it for free instead of paying that company we always pay for these things. And there was an interesting one. Deputy Mayor Trainer and I spent a long time talking to the post office people about how they can do postal banking. A lot of rural places don't even have a bank, can use a post office if it's set up, and it's done in other countries, and we should do it in our own. And they also, which would be applicable to Summerland, can do check-ins because they're there anyway. So people can sign up for a program and have people do check-ins. Because a lot of, we saw in the stats from the RCMP, how many, that was the single largest item, I believe, it depends on the month, that it's just welfare checks to see if somebody's still breathing. So anyway, we can do a resolution to push for that, and I think I might bring that up as a notice of motion sometime. So that's almost everything.
Councillor Barkwell got a lot of this information from the trade show at FCM. There's a massive trade show, and it's really good. And just to add to Canada Post, they are struggling with delivering parcels because there's so much competition now and people aren't mailing items as much. And so they're really trying to diversify what they do. They already have people out in the community. And I guess in Europe, they do wellness checks, like that's one of their jobs. And so it was really interesting to hear them really making an effort. They're already in communities, they're already set up. And so they're trying to find ways to stay in communities, continue to deliver that service. Yeah, Richard and I spent quite a while talking to them, so that would be worthwhile supporting them if we can. And I also brought back a little USB. I think I gave it to Graham. I talked to the playground company. They're one of Canada's big playground companies, and they have some ideas for our playground. So that was good. And I did my report earlier, so Councillor Peak, and then I'll go to Graham.
Thank you, Graham. I'd like to thank both Councillor Richard Barkwell and our Deputy Mayor Aaron Trainer for attending FCM. People often think we're going on a holiday when we go to conferences, and it's not. You're discovering all kinds of information, the networking with the people, and especially when it's across Canada. So I want to thank you very much for making yourselves available to go to this. I think it's very important.
Thank you. I think it was a really great experience. I've been on council 10 years, and it's one of the best experiences I've had. And just to be able to learn from other people and to see the bigger picture is so important. And to see how we make a difference, like every level of government really matters, but the local level is the one that, people really contact you at the local level. So it was just nice to be among peers across the country and realize that we are all part of this. So it's good. I definitely recommend it. CAO.
Yeah, and apologies if I missed it, but I was wondering if there's any information shared or any traits or other presentations regarding the permeable engineered road surfaces to reduce drainage costs.
Yeah, I remember talking to you about that. And I don't see that in my material here. Did I send you something already? We just spoke about it, and I was going to, it seemed like a really good solution for parking lots and such. Yeah, I'll have to look for that. I'm glad you reminded me. There's another couple of things that sort of came from that, and also the show, the fire equipment show in Penticton last week, and the RDUS has started a service called Fire Marquee, where they will, for a percentage, make sure that we get compensation for attendance at fires. And most people's insurance has coverage for that. They're paying for it. So the district should make sure that we get the compensation, whatever it is. I really know nothing about it, but it's a service that's there. The RDOS has signed up, and I passed that information on to staff. And there was a seminar that Councillor Trainer and I attended about communications, which is her forte. And it was how to build public understanding and support strategies with that. And I've brought back some material for that. And since staff handle our communications, I'll pass that on too.
Great. Okay. So no further reports to add. Okay. All right. I will call for an adjournment then at 7:12. Do we have a motion? Councillor Peak, Councillor Patton, all in favor? Great. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of the staff who also sat with us all day today.